I'm homeless, and I have a tent, and I live out in the riverbed outside of town. Can't exactly tell you where. I stay alone. Well, I have a girl. We stay to ourselves.
GLOS is one of a growing number of people who live without shelter year-round in Oceanside. He's on track to get housing now, thanks to a relatively new partnership between the police department's homeless outreach team and neighborhood services division, which form Oceanside's alternative for dealing with homelessness.
I've reached out to the officers. They have a homeless outreach, and I was lucky enough to find out about it, and I came in and I spoke with them.
In the past, we would respond to this complaint of this transient issue within the city. Lots of people want us to deal with it. So essentially, we had one tool back then. Now we've added many tools to our tool belt to address the problem and to help these people.
What we try to do is get people, our homeless population, connected with whatever services that they're needing at that point in time.
FERRY said those services include ID cards, basic forms to further the process, and connections to Brother Benno's, Bread of Life, and other services. HARPER and his partner were the only two officers to volunteer for the police department's homeless outreach team 9 months ago when the program began. The team was initially modeled after San Diego's program that works with populations who have mental illnesses, physical disabilities, and chemical addiction. But Oceanside's homeless outreach team faces a unique problem.
We certainly do have a lot of veterans. We have one of the largest populations of homeless veterans in the nation.
A homeless vet that both Lonnie and I knew basically felt there's others that were in more need than him. There's definitely a wide spectrum of people, of reasons they're homeless, and of different cultures for our homeless population, I think, throughout the nation.
Between 2014 and 2015, the number of unsheltered people rose nearly 50% to 159, and the number of sheltered homeless people dropped 18%, according to an annual count in January. HARPER said he thinks that number fluctuates throughout the year and may even be higher now, with up to 300 homeless people living in the city.
At this time, there is a very low vacancy rate and very little housing available, and the result of that is that rents are rising rapidly. So lower income people are really having a challenging time finding units. In order to address this problem, the Housing Authority has set aside 30 vouchers for homeless veterans and chronically homeless individuals. We should not have people on our streets that are homeless, especially people with chronic medical illnesses and health issues. Then we also have a mandate from the federal government to do something about this.
Encampment sweeps, in which a task force comes through to remove people and their belongings, are routine matters for police and code enforcement. The task force makes weekly sweeps on public land and responds to code violations reported by residents. Residents say to look for people sleeping in public or in vehicles parked on the street, 2 actions that violate city code. Increasingly, similar laws have been challenged in courts as discriminatory measures against the poor. City Attorney John Mullen said the city has no intent to review its public and vehicle camping regulations because Oceanside's is more specific than ones drafted by other cities. Marshall said he takes the illegal route and stays outside because shelters and encampments in bushes have their problems.
I chose not to stay in the shelters. I just had kind of some unpleasant experiences. I preferred not to. It's pretty tough out here. You know, it's scary.